Hello everyone. Going to do a series of videos, starting a series of videos talking about some accessories and some customizations I did to my Smith & Wesson M&P shield in 9mm. I think to start, the best place to start is probably it's the latest thing that I bought and installed and been having some pretty good success with. And what that is, and you can see on one of my mags here, I have it installed with my cruddy little inscription. It is a MagGuts +2 extension. It's made by a company called Corso Incorporated, and it allows you to take your 7-round or your 8-round shield magazine and change the spring, change the follower, and in the case of the +2, install this little mag extension and get 2 extra rounds. So with this specific extension on this 7-round magazine, this is the flush fit one, obviously. You get a small extension, which is, I think they say it's about adds about 1/4 of an inch to the length of the grip, and you get 2 more rounds to your magazine, so you have very little impact to concealability. Because I find one of the biggest factors affecting trying to conceal a lot of these single stacks is the actual length of the grip. That tends to pull off and be poking out to make it more visible, more so than the actual barrel length and some of the other things. So yeah, these mag extensions, they work great. I had the +1 kit installed for quite a while, which is pretty much just as you can see here, I pulled it apart, is the top follower plus the inner spring and a new smaller spring, and there was another little metal piece that went in with my existing floor plate to the magazine. And it's pretty ingenious, or pretty smart the way this works, in that you have the 2 magazines, the 2 springs, and this is probably not going to be on camera correctly, but you put one spring into this little cup here, and basically as the spring goes down in the magazine, you can see that the smaller spring goes inside the larger spring, and basically there's a lot less of the vertical architecture taken up by this huge plastic follower, which will actually give you some extra rounds. The one thing I like about just as an aside, the Smith & Wesson Shield magazines, it's a single stack gun, but the magazines are a little bit wider than they need to be for a single stack. If you compare it to some of the other single stacks out there, like an XDS, they have these really sharp looking, very thin magazines. The only problem is, especially when you look at some of these extensions, it doesn't give you a little bit of extra play to jam some extra rounds in there. So I'll quickly put that guy to one side for a second, and I'll quickly just show you how this is supposed to be installed. It's extremely easy. So as you can see, here's the magazine. Here's the front of the magazine. You can see from the follower itself, you can see the little notch at the front of the magazine. And you can see from the ones that's actually installed here, where the notch is to help engage the slide stop. And here the flat piece, slides right back into the back of the lips that actually holds the follower in and the round in the magazine. So it's extremely simple, right? You just push this guy in, the follower into the magazine. You see the small spring pushes against the front a little bit. I don't know if you can see that, but you can see the follower in there. You want to probably have a screwdriver help you out a little bit. Push it in. You want to leave the existing spring exposed a little bit because it needs to fit into this cup. The way, I don't think they pointed out in some of the instructions or in the other instructional video, but you want to have the end of the spring with this little loop should be facing towards the actual front, or this last loop should be on the front of the magazine here. Again, you just put this cup right in here, and you can see the follower popped up to the top, and you have the rest of your spring hanging out. Now what we're going to do first is put the new floor plate on here, and to do that you kind of need to push this spring in a little bit, right? So this is why you kind of want to have the the rounded end, or the end of the spring at the front, so you can kind of trap it with the extended base plate. It's a little hard to get in here, but right, you want to get obviously the lip into the, you can see it in here, into the gap of the floor plate, and really, you can kind of trap it in here, which is kind of the recommended approach. Then you have this other extended floor plate, and as you can kind of guess, this piece needs to go up against the back of the magazine, and the brass pin comes up through the hole. So really the easiest way to do this is push this so it's trapping the spring as well, right? You can kind of see I have this set up here, right? Looking kind of good. All right, this is kind of right up against the end. Nothing, no springs flying across the room yet. And push it in, and now we need to kind of push it down so we can trap it in here. You kind of get to this point where everything is kind of all set. You can kind of see the pin is not quite in the hole, but then just give the guy a little push. And of course this is not going to want to work for me on camera too easily, but what do we got here? And of course I took apart and put the other one together with no issue. Now this one is going to give me trouble. There you go. So it took a little bit of forcing, but it gets in there. Once you need to kind of push this back piece kind of at an angle, because you want it to go up and you also want it to slide over. So that it's not too difficult, but then that's it. So I mean, you can think about how easy that is to install, and you can see here I have 9 rounds here ready to go. And I'm going to quickly load this up. This is my Hornady Critical Defense 115 grain ammo that I use, and I have lots of it. And that's, you can see, that's 8. And this is the last one, 9. And it gets in there. All right, so, what are kind of the downsides of this? Your round counter windows become useless, which is, in my opinion, no big loss. It does add some additional weight to your carry gun, but now you can go and you can conceal this. You can have you're out 9+1 with a flush mag. If you wanted to install this plate on one of the 8-round magazines and have a nice long 10-rounder as a secondary. I tend to want to have another 9 rounds in my secondary as well. It's just a great option. And I think I can't recall exactly the entire price. If I look here, I got an offer from Corso, I guess, when they first released the 2+1, which really at that point is just the plastic floor plate and this new little insert in here. I got 20%. I got an offer of 20% off because I previously bought the +1, which is just kind of the spring insert and the follower and everything else. When I saw that, I jumped on it because I thought it was a great offer to try. It was another, for me, 20% off. It was a little over $22, and I now have 2 really compact 9-round magazines that I can have with my Smith & Wesson Shield, and they conceal great. Functionality of these, I haven't used the +2 option obviously as much as I used the +1. The +2 I've only had it out to the range a few times. I've had no issues. The +1 follower, this is very well manufactured. It's held up great. I've had this Had to have been close on to a year now. I haven't had any issues with these magazines. I've, briefly I had this +1 in my 8-round magazine, and then I eventually bought a second 7-rounder, and I installed the 2 in my 2 7-rounders, and it just functions flawlessly. Actually looks kind of, I think the follower certainly looks kind of sharp, and what more can you ask for? You're adding additional ammunition to your shield, which is a great carry gun for very little expense. And I think that's about it. Highly recommend this if if you're like me and you carry, I don't carry my shield as much as I carry some of my other guns, but when it comes to like $20 here and $20 there for some of these great little add-ons for your guns that are going to let you carry more ammo, or help you shoot better, or make your gun more utilitarian in different scenarios, it's kind of a no-brainer. So I think that's about it. So I'll wrap this video up here. I'm sure I'll have links in the description to the Corso website. You do a quick search, you'll find it pretty easy. But these MagGuts extensions, these follower editions, they're great. Highly recommend them. I buy them for any gun that I could. I tend to carry my XDS a bit more than my shield. I just wish I can get these extensions for my XDS. But like I said, this is great. It's a kind of no-brainer. Very simple, very easy change to make, and it works great. All right, thanks.